welcome one and all to another exciting episode of Empower Volusia and Common Sense. And my name is Jason Davis, and we're coming to you from an undisclosed location in an iron bunker hidden deep within the highlands of West Volusia County, guarded by two rabid Pomeranians and one crazy cat. Yes, good. Well, good morning, good day, good evening, good whatever it is that you're listening to us on, and we're gonna I do my own little board work here on my my mixer, so every once in a while I have to adjust up the volume there on it so I can see what's going on. Hey, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube now. You can go ahead and click on there, and you can also drop me a line at jasondavispodcast@gmail.com and send me your questions, your concerns, and whatever subject matter you might want to listen to. So, and hey, go ahead and send us some good comments, and be critical and tell me what we can do to maybe improve these podcasts here for you, because this goes out to everybody in the country. Matter of fact, everybody in the world. And you probably just heard one of the rabid Pomeranians there making his presence known. So, anyways, this morning, as we sit here, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're listening to this, I'm looking at a article written by Mr. Mark Barker from the Volusia County Government Forum, also known as Barker's View. And he writes about our council, our county council, which doesn't really pertain to a lot of people out there, but it does. See, that's the interesting thing here. And I've done a podcast on the county council and the county manager, told you what their what their powers and their authorities are. So, what we've got here is a little story here. And I quote now, "Unfortunately, in Volusia County, the ability of a sitting council member, a district representative, to meaningfully participate in the legislative process is directly proportional to that elected official's willingness to go along and get along to protect the status quo and conform to the rigid expectations of an entrenched power structure that values fealty," that's a word, "to those who can pay to play." Now, why does he write this issue? Well, because recently our budget came about. That's right. The county budget of Volusia County is out. It's over $900 million that they're bringing in. $900 million. And I went over to taxes here in another recent one. It's called Taxes. And I basically give you the breakdown. And the lion's share of this money goes to the school board. It goes to the sheriff's department. It goes to the fire services, which is something I fought against, because the fire services becomes a taxing authority. And when you have a taxing authority, it no longer is controlled, shall we say, by the county manager and the county council, because it becomes an eating, breathing monster on its own. So that's why I did not support having a fire services taxing authority. It's like a CRA, a community redevelopment authority. It's a taxing authority, and it can increase its money needed as it goes along, and the taxpayer pays it, like it or not. So anyways, here we go. So what happened was our taxes came out, and they were talking about our taxes, and here we go. Here it is. I'm reading his article, trying to find the points. Here's one. Now only one preliminary budget report was released, and do we learn that let's go back a paragraph here. Yes, I have it all written out here, and thank you, Mark. You do a good job in writing this. You make these very large words that most people don't understand, and I have to translate some of them here. So let's see. Since February, our elected officials and the citizens they represent have been under the mistaken impression that Mr. Pozo's department, and that is Department of Fire Services and Emergency Management Services, EMS and Fire Services, had made specific improvements to the EMS protocols, hired personnel, and implemented the central changes outlined in a presentation to the Volusia County Council in February. In February, Mr. Pozo came to the Volusia County government, and he said, "Here we are, here's EMS, here's what we're doing, here's how we're doing it, here's what we plan to do, here's where we're going to go." And he gives this big, huge PowerPoint presentation. Let me tell you, sitting on the dais, having been the Volusia County chair, and running these meetings. They're some of the most boring presentations. You sit there and they ramble on. And they dull your senses into monotony, and you want to go to sleep. And it's like most of the council members at this point, as soon as I see a PowerPoint presentation come up, and I've seen this, I've seen it from every council member that sat up there. All of a sudden, they come out, PowerPoint, they open up their Facebook accounts, they open up their Twitter accounts, and they're sitting there typing, and they're talking. And they're actually, and I've noticed, they're conversing between each other. Are you going to vote for this? Here's why I'm not. Here's why I'm going to vote for it. Yeah, we need to approve this. No, we don't. Yeah, they're doing it on the dais, out of sunshine. So there's a blatant violation right there. You need to have a camera behind them seeing what they're doing, because the American people and the citizens of Volusia County would be absolutely appalled as to some of the ridiculous stuff that they're doing up there. I had one guy that was killing zombies on a video game sitting next to me. Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're playing games. They're not paying attention. They're not doing their job. And if they were doing their job, then when Miss Post attempted to press Mr. Pozo with other senior administrators for information, the current chair, Mr. Ed Kelly, who is really a part-time chairman. He's not there all the time. He's off gallivanting around the countryside with his kids, who's a singer in a band, and a country music band, and he goes to all these concerts, and he's never around. You never can get a hold of him. You can't contact him on the phone. That is one thing I made very prevalent during my administration was, you called me, I picked up the phone, and everybody in the county could have my phone number. I didn't care. If it's important to you, it's important to me. And that's what But anyways, Chairman Kelly, who talked over her, ignored her objections, and protected senior administrators from answering difficult questions, and generally acted like a bullying a-hole. I have to kind of clean this up a little bit. Intent on shutting down any substantive discussion of this important issue. In other words, she's saying, why haven't you done your job, Mr. Pozo, like you said you were going to do? Big question. So he's, Mr. Barker's kind of like, it also, here's another part of it. It also requires strict subservience to a bloated bureaucracy that has reduced elected body to mere figureheads. A tail wagging the dog situation. Yes, where elected policymakers with the temerity to think outside systematic limitations are pounded like square pegs into round holes of groupthink and political conformity. This is his statement. You're right, Mark. You're absolutely right. And it doesn't matter what level of government you're on. Over the past several years, 12, 14 years, it's been the tail wagging the dog. In other words, folks, if you don't understand that, it's the political powers that be, the hierarchy that have been there forever, the major money donors, and all these people are telling these people what to do, not the citizens. This is a country and a county and cities that are governing the many, run by the few. And the few that are running it are not the elected officials. They're just doing what they're told. And they're doing what they're being told by political parties and major donors. It's all about the money. And let me give you an example. Seriously, it was ugly there at the county council. I mean, it was actually horrible. I did hear some of the rhetoric that was going on, and Mr. Barker's absolutely right. This guy, Kelly, was bullying this poor girl. Now, I know most of the people that sit on that dais. I've met them. I've known them. I've known some of them for many years. But, we've got some that just cow down to what's supposed to happen. They bend over backwards to kiss the heinies of the big money donors. And this is what it's called, folks. It's called an agenda. And everybody up there has their own private agenda. See, here's how we fix these problems. See, I'd like to bring out the problem, but how do we fix it? Okay, well, here's what we do. When we vote for our representatives, we need to ask ourselves, what is this person's agenda? That is the true question you need to ask. It is truly not what most people say it is. Of course not. Because, let us be real, they want to be elected to the position they're running for, and they will say or do anything. They will kiss the baby even though they don't like children. They'll pet the dogs even though they're allergic to dogs. They'll go to chili cook-offs and all these other fun things because that's what they got to do to get elected. How do I know? Well, I've been there. But I liked petting dogs. I like children. You know, I like to taste a good glass of wine every once in a while. I like to eat fine foods. I mean, I am a normal human being that likes to do things and get out there and meet people. I like to meet people, and that is what I do, even today, now that I'm retired from politics. So, we need to look a little deeper now and see if these people that want to be elected or be reelected, if they have previous government experience, and if they do, what did they do for us, the American citizen, the Volusia County resident, in their previous position. You see, the county chair, the current one, used to be a mayor. Problem with that is he still thinks like a mayor, and he wants to make sure all the cities get all the money that they want. And they want to make sure that we have a homeless shelter, which is way over budget and out of time. But, so here's what you do. You got to dig a little deeper, folks. Did they raise your taxes? Were they transparent to the ones who elected them? Did they answer their phone? Or at least call you back? Did they explain things in a manner that you can understand? Do they explain things in a manner you can understand? Or are they grandstanders and bullies? Are they narcissistic? So many questions you need to research. You need to research. And I'm not talking about going through the political parties, and I'm not talking about asking the candidate, but you need to get out there on the internet and look these records up. Voting is one of the most sacred rights you have, folks. And if you're not informed, you probably will make the wrong decision, as they have done with the county chair, because I've had so many people who know me, who've met me, who see me, who recognize me. I do have a kind of an unforgettable person face thing. And these people have come to me and said, I'm so sorry you didn't get reelected. If only we knew. And these are people who are members of the party that voted against me. If only we knew. Well, yeah, that's true. You know, a true leader of the county is the manager. And as I've stated in previous podcasts, you get to look for the episode called County Manager. He makes the decisions. If he doesn't want something on the agenda, it will not be there. Just go ahead and check that out. So let me explain to you. This is a process of wagging the dog here, folks. That's what this is. The tail wags the dog. And this is a great opportunity for me to explain it to you, how this happens. First off, an issue has to come up. Any issue whatsoever, whether it's zoning, it's taxes, it's walking on the sidewalk, parking on the beach, whatever. Now, this issue can be brought up by a county staff member, generally, a council member, once in a while, a citizen, very rarely, or as one of the many, as Mr. Barker calls them, pay-to-play benefactors, most of the time. Believe me, Volusia County is run for the benefit of those people. The first part of the process is a question, will this issue benefit the county? No, that's not the right question to ask, folks. That is not it. That's pretty broad-reaching. Will this benefit the county? Well, sure, it'll benefit the county in 30, 40 years. A much better question, and a more realistic one is will it piss off those who pay to play and or the senior staff? That's a better question, and a more realistic one. So, let's see how this process works. Let's see. We got a couple of things that could go on here, but let's just go with a local insurance company bought up vacant parcel of land in Daytona Beach. I believe it was the old Buick dealership. They wanted the county to pay impact fees and help build the corporate headquarters of this insurance company. They asked Volusia County to give them money of $5.4 million. That's right. Well, let's get the debate going. Now, it's impact fees, which everybody needs to pay. So let's debate this. Why? It's the law. You're supposed to pay the impact fees. So here's a case where the big donors wanted money to build a large building for their corporate headquarters, and the real rub of it all is they are a multi-billion-dollar-a-year corporation, and Volusia County has about $40 million of expendable income. After we give the money to the school board, and we give it to the sheriff's department, and we give it to the fire department, and we give it to St. John's Water Management, and on and on and on, we have about $40 million worth of expendable income that we need to keep for things like, hurricane relief, things that are needed for the people. So I'm sorry, but the math just doesn't work for me. But wait, there's more. The county council debated and approved the measure. Go figure. Considering most of them received money from this big donor for their campaigns. Wait, can we say conflict of interest? Yes, you can. Is it prosecutable? Yes, it is. Will it be? No, it won't. But wait, there's still more here. So now we fast forward a few months, and we paid them the money. They've got their infrastructure. We paid for it. We paid for their impact fees because they threatened to remove that corporation from Volusia County and go to another state. That's what happened. Anyways, a few months go by, and this multi-billion-dollar company decides, hey, it's time to make an $18 million donation to Stetson University in the name of education. Wonderful. But wait, you're begging us, or you're actually not begging. They're demanding, through the council, who has the purse strings, approval. They're the ones that have to approve it by the charter. They're demanding from these council members to do this and get their $5.4 million. And they're calling it good business, keeping these people here working, blah, blah, blah. They'll do all this crazy argument. They demanded that money, but yet they can turn around and 3+ times that much money they can throw at Stetson University in the name of education, building new buildings and everything. And education is an important thing, folks. Stetson University is a private entity, a private university, very expensive. But really? You're going to take $5 million from us and pay them $18 million. It almost sounds like money laundering, to be honest with you. That's how you launder money. You take money in this, and then but I'm not saying they're doing that. But it's not a lot, part of that $5.4 million? Really? So they spent roughly $13 million, $12 to $13 million to Stetson, above and beyond what Volusia County gave them. So, they're out that money, right? No, they're not. No, fear me not. For you see, they are the insurance company of record for Volusia County government. And let me tell you, because I was involved in their contract renegotiations and searching for better health care and all this other insurance we were looking for, they'll make that money up really quick. Well, but because the county council approved the initial expenditure of $5.4 million under threat, as I've said, they will reap the benefits of having those ever so important donations once again made to their campaigns. Yes, this is what I mean by an agenda, folks. This is wagging the dog. You need to listen to the county council episode because it will tell you that these people have zero authority. You can't hire, you can't fire. You don't get to make resolution. You can make a resolution. It has to be typed up, has to be approved by the county manager and all that. But as far as most of this goes, they're just a figurehead. And Mr. Barker, you hit it right. It doesn't matter whether it's a CRA giving money away to big money donors or, making sure the county manager and the county attorney get their 12% raise every year. That's right. So it's all about the money, Mr. Barker and friends. It's all about the money, the agenda, and getting re-elected. I didn't get re-elected. January 1st, when I was at home, I woke up. I went, I don't have that stress. It's amazing. I had a heart attack during that 4 years. Believe me, the stress is gone. I feel better. So all those guys up there will probably get their big donations for their reelection, except maybe Heather Post. And the reason is she stands her ground for the people. This lady was elected grassroots by the people. She represents the people, and she argues against the bureaucracy and the administration to find out the truth. That's what county council meetings are about, is to bring forth the truth and transparency, and that's what Sunshine Law is all about, except the only really problem about that is it just shoved it farther into the darkness. Different, instead of back rooms of the county, now they go to restaurants and bars, and they have now with technology, we have burner phones, and they can pick those up and have phone calls amongst themselves and discuss matters. Yes, they do. There's no way in the world you can tell me that everybody on that dais can say the same exact thing rehearsed without discussing it with everybody else. I'm sorry. But anyway, I hope this all works out well for Heather, because she does stand her ground for the people. Just keep asking the questions and demanding the answers. I hope it works, but I have a feeling your re-election may be in jeopardy, because the rhinos are already sharpening their knives and drawing a target on your back, my dear. Be careful. I would help you any way I can, but I'm not in your district. But I think we might just have a discussion on air one day. So, all I got to say is, from my experience, all I can say is it just takes, to get anything done there, it takes a lot of hard work. But maybe one day they'll actually start to use, I don't know, maybe a little common sense.